So let's take a look at a few projections here, because the audience that's listening in to you right now, the Warren Buffett of cryptocurrency investing here, right? What's the let's because I do my price predictions based on charts. So there is no chart, so I really can't predict the price of it just yet. So we're gonna have to rely on we have to rely on your fundamental analysis and your valuation, right? So
all right. So I'll give you some. Okay. So we can the way we can value this is we can value this based on what the market values similar things, right? One way to put a valuation on it is relative valuation. Right?
Okay.
You do this in the stock market too, right?
Yeah.
So
so let's do this. Let's do an example of a stock that everyone is familiar with, of how you do the valuation on that, and then we'll switch it over and do the one for Lisk. That way the audience knows what we're talking about. Because remember, if we talk about something they don't know about, then it's not going to make any sense. So let's.
All right. So let's take an example of what's a good example that everyone would know? All right.
How about Airbnb
in the stock market,
Uber?
Okay. Let's look at something that's been traded for a while. Let's look at Google, right? Google's been out for a while, and so we know the concept of PE, right? We know the concept of price to earnings ratio, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the stock market, you hear about the PE is a statistic that's quoted, very commonly quoted, right?
Yeah, I never care about that number when I'm trading.
I know, but it's important, right? It's the reason that you might not care about it because you just look at the charts, but from a fundamental analysis, it tells you what investors are willing to pay for a company, right? At any given moment, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at a price to earnings ratio, what that number means is how many dollars are investors willing to pay for a dollar of earnings of that company, right?
Yeah. So if that company has $1 worth of earning, and the price
how many dollars are investors willing to pay to get that dollar of earnings, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you take a company, say, like a General Motors, right?
Yeah.
The company the market values GM at 9. Gives it a P of 9, right? Which means that the market is willing to pay $9, right, for every dollar of GM's earnings, right? Or something like Caterpillar or something. Typically 9, 10. That's 9, 10, 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's something for like old, established, traditional companies. That's typically like the multiple they get. Right?
Yeah, so it's about 9 or 10 times the earnings.
Yeah. So the stock price divided by the earnings, you get a multiple about 10, right? Let's just call it 10.
Yeah, that way that the listeners know what the average is. So it's around 10. 10 times.
And I think like the S&P 500 trades at an average of 18 or something like that, 15 to 18 historically, right? I mean, I don't know what it is right now, but 15 to 18, like when we were at the peak of the bubble, it got as high as like 25, and when you're in like a depression, it can get down to like 9, right? But in the normal, the long-term average tends to be around 15, right? 15 to 18, something like that. So when Google came out in 2004, I think it was, they came out at a 50 multiple, right? In other words, the market was willing to pay $50 for every dollar of Google, right?
Yeah.
And so the question you would ask yourself, why is the market willing to pay $50 for $1 of Google's earnings and only say $10, 9 or 10 for $1? It's the same dollar of profit, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that for, say, a GM, the market is only willing to pay 10, but for a company like Google, the market is willing to pay 50?
Because at that time they believed that it had more potential.
Well, because the PE is looking at the past, right?
Yeah.
The PE is looking at the way you calculate PE was for the past 12 months. How many dollars did the company earn per share?
Yeah.
divided by the stock price, right? The stock price divided by the earnings for the last year.
Yeah.
That's a backward-looking number, right? It's telling you what has been, not what.
Yeah,
what
it's based on facts. It's not based on opinion.
Yeah, it's based on the facts that have already happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not how stocks trade, right? Stocks trade based on what the market believes the future is going to be, not based on what has already happened. It's based on what the market thinks is going to happen.
Yeah, like so when I'm trading, if you pull up a GE stock or GM stock or Apple stocks, I'm trading it based on where I expect it to be.
Yeah, exactly. So the market is saying basically that I'm willing to pay $50 for a multiple of 50 because the market believes Google is going to grow a lot faster than, say, a General Motors.
Yeah.
And in 2004, it actually did. In fact, if you paid 50 times earnings, they said the forward multiple, from 2004, what actually ended up happening was you were actually only paying $6 for what happened in the future. Like, there's no way you could have known in 2004, but the next years, you actually paid something like, it was cheaper than anything. Like, even paying 50 times earnings for Google was less than anything you could have bought, and that's why Google has outperformed so much, right? That's one way to look at valuations is you can look at what is the multiple of say a Google or a Facebook versus say a multiple of if you have like a company like Uber or any other tech company, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a friend who gave me this example, right? He said, you know what, I can open a trucking company. Like he's trying to do something like Uber for construction vehicles, right?
Yeah, for like dump trucks.
Dump trucks.
And cement trucks.
Cement trucks, right? Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying that, I could open a traditional cement or trucking company, right?
Yeah.
And if let's say I built this business and it makes $1 million a year and I wanted to sell it, right?
Yeah.
I could probably only sell it for between $1 and $2 million, right? If it made $1 million a year,
yeah,
and I wanted to sell the company, I could probably only sell it for no more than a few $1 million, right?
Yeah.
But if I make a tech company, let's say I make like an Uber for dump trucks, a trucking tech company that is based around an app, like Uber, right? Because Uber is basically a taxi company, but they don't own any taxis; they just own an app, right?
Yeah.
But if I built like an app for dump trucks, right? And I built this business that it made $1 million a year, just like I built a traditional company. Like he said, I could sell this company for $20 million, not for 2 or 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why? Right? You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Why would you be able? Like, you're building basically a trucking company, and just because this tech company has an app, you can sell it for 20 times the profit versus if you just ran a regular. But you get what I'm saying? If you just opened a regular company and bought trucks and made the same amount of money, right?
Yeah.
You could only get $2 million for making the same amount of money, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why is that? And he's like, well, I don't know why. That's just what the market says, right?
Yeah.
So going back to Ethereum and Lisk, you can see that, it should start off at a $7 million valuation, right?
Yeah.
So like if Lisk were to start trading right now, if let's say they issued the coins and put it on an exchange, theoretically, if investors were willing to give them 14,000 Bitcoins for 85 million Lisks, it should start off at a $7 million valuation, around 7 cents. That should put it at number, because they haven't spent the money yet, right? They just started.
Yeah.
Right? So theoretically, this should just trade at around 7 million. Now, if we looked at Ethereum, when they actually launched the network and had all the features, you can remember that they started at $1, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, forget about, like, the first day when it was just crazy and it was just all over the place.
Yeah,
but just after,
I would say that the first 3 days don't count.
Yeah, they don't count, right? Because everyone's trying to figure out what this thing's worth.
Yeah,
right?
all the exchanges. I would even say as far as the first week, like the first, like whatever the first launch and the first pump and the first dump.
Yeah,
none
of that counts.
None of that counts. I would say that there's going to be a pump, and then one cycle of pump and dump, and then I'll look at what the current price is.
Yeah, that's kind of like a fair price, because we're trying to discover the price, right?
We're trying to get a real market price, but you have to wait until the dust settles because exchanges are trying to figure it out. And I mean, if you look at how when just a few days ago when Bitfinex announced that they were going to start trading
Ethers,
if you look at their charts, I mean, there's like a massive crash.
Yeah.
From like 50 millibits all the way down to the 25, 26 millibits or wherever it was that and then or to 30. But if you look on the charts, if you did not know, you would think that it started out at 50 millibits and crashed all the way down.
Okay.
Right.
So
but the reality is it's not. It's just the exchanges have to, somebody has to make the first trade. Somebody has to put the first order in. So there's all kinds of BS that happens, just technical stuff that has nothing to do with anyone. That's just the nature of the first.
The market trying to figure out what this thing's worth. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, but we can put Lisk with things that are like Lisk, right?
Yeah.
I mean we can value Lisk. I would say Lisk is like Ethereum. It's like Counterparty. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like Mastercoin, right? And we give them credit for that partnership with Microsoft. So we give them credit for the amount of money they've raised, right?
Yeah. I will give them the credit for the amount of money they raise, but it's, I don't know, in my mind, it's hard for me to give them the same caliber of coders as the other guys.
Yeah, and the market's not giving them that, right? The market's valuing them at 7 million, not 18 million.
Yeah.
Right? But on the other hand, that when Ethereum raised that money, they didn't have a network launched, right? It was like another year before they started trading.
Yeah.
Crypty, because it's a copy of Lisk, which is a copy of Crypty. Crypty has already done a lot of development. This is mainly going to be a marketing effort, I think. I mean, they're not going to require as much. They're further along in their development than Ethereum was when they did their crowd sale.
Yeah,
right?
I actually created a video already.
Yeah.
In case anyone's listening that's interested. I talked about the timeline that I expect for people to, what my projections are on the timeline of when.
Okay, so if they launch the network, if they have the features that they say they have, right?
Yeah.
Which is basically the features Crypty says they have, then I can see this opening at around opening, between $40 to $80 million, really. If depending on how well he does the marketing, because a lot of this code is already written, right?
Yeah, and you're saying $30 to $40 million market valuation.
Yeah.
Based on what?
Well, based on the fact that Ethereum has none of that, right? Ethereum doesn't really even have. I mean, they just launched the Mist wallet. But there's really, there's really not a lot of infrastructure yet with Ethereum, and it's trading at $1 billion. But over the summer, I think that Crypty is about where Ethereum was in terms of adoption. From a technical standpoint, right? they probably were further along than when Ethereum launched last summer, right? Ethereum was trading at a $70 million market cap and had nothing. It was like Frontier was like barely worked, right?
Yeah.
Remember, we were even scared to like move our ethers because we were scared of messing up. Right?
Yeah. And you were one of the, you're one of the top developers, iOS developers in the world. And when you said, "Hey, man, I don't want to touch this because it's so unstable," I'm like, man, if you're one of the top iOS developers and you're afraid to touch it, I'm like, man, I am not going to touch mine.
Yeah, look, I don't think that that's going to happen with Lisk because Crypto's been around for almost a couple years now, right? So that's not going to be an issue, in terms of people downloading it, and they'll probably get something running. They probably have a lot of the stuff already working because it's been in development for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, I feel with Lisk, it's going to depend a lot more on marketing and partnerships and adoption. I think that's, like, my sense is that a lot of that $5 million is going to be used to do promotion, right, and to create partnerships and do a lot of evangelism, right? Developer evangelism, to convince developers to develop for the platform.
Yeah.
Right. So it really is I think this is going to be this is going to this is a case where I agree with you. I think that it's going to where the market trades. And you got to remember, Ethereum got the valuation it has because of marketing. A lot of it had to do with marketing. Right?
Yeah, it's man. I am just a strong believer in just marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you happen to have a good product, it's even better. It makes the marketers and the sales guys really easier to market and sell it.
That's really the problem of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin had horrible marketing. Right. In fact, there was no marketing in Bitcoin. It's amazing how far it's gotten without any marketing. Right.
Exactly, because it's
$1 valuation.
Yeah, it started as a grassroots movement and started to grow. The fact that it got to up to a point of 12 billion at one time when you and I first got involved into it. That's amazing in itself to show that it was purely just the product that did all the marketing. There was no salespeople or marketing people to even do it.
But imagine if there were, right? Imagine if Bitcoin had a real sales team. If Satoshi Nakamoto was a real person, right? Or if we knew who he was and we could and it didn't get the bad reputation that it did with Mt. Gox and Silk Road and all that, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing that despite all that bullshit marketing and bad press, that it still succeeded. Yeah,
exactly. But imagine if there was even if there was just a half-assed marketing effort in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Imagine it wouldn't be at a $6 billion; it would be at a $60 billion.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're saying that based on your projections, you feel that right now during the ICO period, it's worth right after the ICO, it's worth $7 million, but you can easily see that it's going to be between 30 to 40 million.
I could easily see between 30 and 50 million. Let's just say I could easily see it because it really. It's really, I think, depends on so number one, how well they do the marketing, how well Max, since he doesn't seem to be a technical guy, he seems more of a sales and marketing guy, right?
Yeah.
So I would say in the short run, it's going to be how much buzz, how much hype he can generate, and he's already done a lot with this Microsoft deal, right? But going forward, it's going to be, can he get the developers? Number one, can he get the developers to develop apps for that, right? To develop applications on the platform. And number two, can he recruit developers to come develop the platform further, right? He's got $5 million. Some of it's going to go to marketing, and probably half or more of it is going to go towards engineering, right?
Yeah.
To build out the roadmap, right?
Yeah.
And so it really depends on can he execute. If he can execute, he has enough money, right? I mean, there's plenty of money to do this, right?
Yeah.
Really, the ball's in his court. I mean, it's his game to lose at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because if he's even like a third, if he even does like a third of what Ethereum did, right?
Okay, how about
we
this?
Can easily.
How about we do a worst case scenario and an average case scenario and a best case scenario, or just two? How about the worst case scenario? What do you see as the absolute worst here?
Well, the worst case scenario is he does nothing, right? He messes everything up and blows.
No. I'm talking about the minimum. I should not say worst case scenario. Let's just say the minimum valuation that you have for it. Bare minimum, based on like.
I think he can get up to like what Dash is right now.
What's Dash at?
Oh, Dash is at like 37 million right now. $6, right?
Yeah.
Even MadeSafe. Okay, MadeSafe is still vaporware. Okay.
Yeah.
Like MadeSafe, there's no product on MadeSafe. There's nothing. I mean, how much do you know? I don't know a great deal about that, but I go to their. I know they have this thing called SafeCoin, and it's kind of like storage, but I don't see anything.
They've been at it for several years. They've been at it before Bitcoin even came out.
Yeah, exactly. And so they've been at this since 2006. It's been 10 years, I think, is when they started. They still have nothing.
Yeah.
And why are they at a $42 million valuation?
Okay. So you're saying that you're saying that the the minimum, the bare minimum that Lisk should be evaluated at is $30 million.
Okay, so Dogecoin is at $22 million.
You know what? I think that, and what is NXT?
And NXT is at 8 right now.
Okay. So let's do this. Right? We know everyone agrees that Dogecoin is just a joke.
It's a $22 million joke, yeah.
Okay. So let's just look at absolute worst case scenario that Lisk, okay, is just half that joke, which would put it at $11 million valuation.
Yeah, I mean,
we're just looking at just a bonehead case scenario here. Okay,
yeah.
That the market is just so retarded that the market can't tell that it's worth, that it only sees it worth as half as much as a joke of a Dogecoin.
Yes.
So
that would still put it at an $11 million valuation, right? That would still put it at $11 million, which is still 11 million would be about 1 cent, right? About 10 cents, right?
Okay, so let's do this real quick. I got the trusty old calculator right here.
10 cents. It would put it at 10 cents.
Okay, so is that correct?
Well, yeah, 100 million times 10 cents is 10 million, right?
Okay, I thought we said that it was at 11 million valuation.
All right, then it's 11 cents. 11 cents. Okay.
Okay, so if we take 11 cents minus the 7 cents that everyone paid for it, that's a gain of 4 cents divided by 7. So that means that at the bare minimum, all the investors are going to make 57% return.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
I would say that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's minimum. Okay, now let's just say that it goes up to the 30 million valuation that you project. But that you say that let's call it the average valuation based on Factum, based on the vaporware, made safe, and all this other stuff, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So no, hey, Factum is not vaporware, right? Because it's already out.
Yeah, Factum is not vaporware, but only has a $14 million valuation right now. Right?
Okay. So let's just say that it reaches that $30 million average valuation that you're talking about.
Yeah, which would put it at 30 cents, right?
Okay. So if you take 30 cents minus the 7 cents, that's a gain of 23 cents.
Four times. It's 4 times your money, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's almost 4 times your money. So at minimum it would be a 57% return for the investors, and then on average it would you're projecting that it's going to be 400% return.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 400% profit for the investors, and then let's just say that a really, really good scenario. You're saying that if it's even half of what Ethereum is.
Well, Ethereum came out at let's say I think it came out. Let's call it $1, right?
Yeah.
And so that's like a $77 million valuation. Let's call it 80 million, just to make it easy. Right?
Okay.
And an $80 million. Okay, so 80 million would put it like right behind Litecoin, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure where Litecoin is at the moment.
Litecoin's at number 4, right?
Okay.
Litecoin's at 145 million. It would put it just ahead of MadeSafe, right?
Yeah.
That would mean it would open at number 5 on the CoinMarketCap list, right? That would be 50 cents. This is really easy because there's only 100 million Lisks, right?
Yeah.
So 50 cents would put it. Would be a
50 cents.
Seven times return, right?
Yeah, 50 minus 7 equals 43.
Yeah, so
44.
Seven times.
Almost 700% returns.
Yeah. So I think it's somewhere around there, and it you said, it depends on how well the marketing and the partnerships go and how much buzz they create. I think that's going to drive where this thing ends up.
Okay, so are you going to go on record right now? Is the Peter Thiel and the Warren Buffett, is the Warren Buffett of cryptocurrency going to go on record right now and make a prediction, a bold prediction, that Lisk is going to go anywhere between, what did we say it was, 11 cents to an average of 30 cents to a high of, 50 cents?
50 cents, yeah.
50 cents.
50 cents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's based on the track record. I would go on record in saying that we'll end up somewhere, most likely, if we don't at least start at 11 cents, that means they really screwed up something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it means they really messed up, because they'll get 11 cents if they do anything at all.
Okay.
Okay. If he does anything with that $5 million. Okay.
Yeah. It should start out. It should be okay. And so now, if it takes if it goes to average, just goose around, then it should be around 30 cents, and then really, really good would be 50 cents.
Yeah, I think in the short run, yeah. I think we'll see that.
Okay, so now we got the price projection down at 11 cents, 30 cents, and 50 cents. Now, what is the time frame that you're looking at?
Well, I don't know when. I'm going to have to go research. I'm looking. This is based on after they launch and when the trading settles down. That's the number I'm talking about.
Yeah. We talked about after the first cycle of pump and dump, And maybe you know what? Hey, just to be safe, to be safe, right? I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you 2 pump and dump cycles before the dust settles. I'm going to give you 2 pump and dump cycles.
All right.
Right? So we're talking about the 7 cents, we're talking about the 11 cents, the 30 cents, and the 50 cents after 2 pump and dump cycles, just so the market levels out.
Yeah, when the market levels out. I think it'll level out between 11 and 50 cents. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. What is the time frame? Because I know it's not.
Well, we know how much. We know how long is 2 pump and dump cycles. Maybe a month or 2, right? 1 or 2 months after it launches.
Yeah.
So I would say the time frame is 2 months after they start trading on 1 to 2 months. After
Because it can't just be when it's available for trading. It has to be when it's and it has to be on a major exchange too. No bullshit exchange that nobody can get access to. Yeah,
that's right.
So we would have to say it would have to be on like maybe Poloniex or a Kraken.
Kraken, yes, one of those.
Yeah, or a Bitfinex or something.
Yeah, exactly. We can on CoinMarketCap they list the exchange like at least like the top exchanges are like Bitfinex. It depends on like Poloniex. Some of the Chinese exchanges, and if they get listed on a Chinese exchange, that will be a big boost too. That's going to be a major. I think if I were Max, if I were doing marketing, I'd be in China right now trying to get it listed on a major Chinese exchange. That will double the market cap alone if he does that, because it's done it for Factum. It's done it, that's. If I were doing the marketing, that's the first thing I would do is take a flight to China and try to get it on a Chinese exchange.
Okay. I'm sure that I'm almost certain that Max and Oliver will be listening to this. So
okay. I'm just saying that because it's happened before, right? I'm just saying that it's happened, every time a coin gets listed on a major Chinese exchange, it pops, right?
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's something that where I'm looking for this thing to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool deal, man. So you got your price projection down for Lisk. You got the time frame. Well, the time was not clear. We both agreed that we have to wait for 2 pump and dump cycles for price to level out before we and so one is that the 2 pump and dump cycles go through for the dust to settle. Number 2, it has to be listed on a major recognized exchange.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And then the time would be from that point on after those 2 criteria. You're saying, what are you saying the time will be? 90 days?
Yeah, 90 days.
I think that's a safe bet. Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, 90 days. Yeah. Yeah, and look, like I said, it has to do a lot with what Max does. It's not like I'm going to be setting the price. It's really what, it's in his hands at this point. The ball's in his court to make this happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the market has given him, the crowd has given him, a big opportunity here. Right?
Okay, so here's the thing. If he listens to the Warren Buffett of cryptocurrency investing, then these numbers will hit. Now, what happens, let's just say that in an average scenario, like you said, it reaches a 30-cent market cap. That will give them plenty of funding to ensure the success of the project.
It will, because they still got 15 million Lisks, right?
Yeah. So
and if you take...
cents,
15 at 30 cents, that would 30 cents times 15 million.
That would give him another $4.5 million.
$4.5 million. That's right. That would give him another $4.5 million. So he'd have about 10 million, roughly. Let's call it $10 million to work with. Right. That's plenty of money for a startup. I mean, that should be like 5 to 7 years of funding.
Okay. And if it goes up to the 50 cent, if he gets it on the exchange, like you suggest, and then and they get it up to 50 cents, then for sure they're going to have about probably close to 10 million then.
Over 10 million, yeah. They would have over 10 million, yeah.
To work with.
Yeah. And that is, you could hire a team of 20 developers with that. Okay.
Will they be able to hire the Warren Buffett of cryptocurrency investing?
With that much? Yeah.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man.
All right, man.
So we talked about the price projection and the time projection, and we also threw out there what needs to be done to get it up to those price points. So hopefully they listen to what we discussed and take action on it. So.
All right, man.
All right, man. All right. Hey, and if you guys are listening to this and you guys like what LeonFood.com and I are discussing, make sure you guys give us a thumbs up. Leave your questions and comments below. And let us know what you guys think about LeonFood.com's price projections there, guys. Now, after they start trading and there's charts available, then that's where I'll take over, and then I'll do my price projections and the time projections. Okay, but right now there's no charts for me to look at, so we're going to have to rely on the Warren Buffett of cryptocurrencies here. Okay? So, all right, so give us a thumbs up, guys, and if you guys haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you guys do, and we'll catch you guys in the next broadcast. All right, thanks, Leon. All right.